Hello, friends. The 1248th day of the war between Russia and Ukraine continues. Russian troops entered the outskirts of Stepnohirsk in the Zaporizhzhia region yesterday. This was reported by the Ukrainian military. As of yesterday, the enemy infantry entered the outermost houses of Stepnohirsk. The current situation is currently unknown. The enemy also pulled up armored vehicles to Kamiansky, apparently with the aim of further developing the success of its infantry with a mechanized breakthrough. So far, the situation in this area is not very good, wrote an officer with the call sign Alex. Military officer Bonyatov writes that the Zaporizhzhia direction has entered an active phase. According to him, the Russians were spotted yesterday in the area of the Stepnohirsk Children's Music School, which is located south of the main city, not far from Plavny. Deep State reports that the Russians have consolidated their positions in Kamiansky and are conducting attacks on Stepnohirsk. According to him, the Russian army is already trying to go beyond Kamiansky, conducting attacks on Plavny and Stepnohirsk. At the same time, the Russians are clearing Kamiansky. The situation gradually worsened since the enemy forces turned out to be significantly larger than ours, our Telegram channel notes. However, the resource map does not yet record the presence of Russian troops on the outskirts of Stepnohirsk. I will note that from Stepnohirsk to Zaporizhzhia is less than 30 kilometers. That is, this is the range of artillery strikes and many types of drones. In Donbas, the Russians advanced near Kostiantinivka, near Yevhenii, according to Deep State. The enemy announced the complete capture of this village the day before and published footage of their flags being demonstrated in the eastern and southeastern parts of the settlement. Fighter Muchnoy writes that the enemy broke through to Oleksandro Kalinovi and took the settlement under complete control. According to him, some of our soldiers were unable to retreat and unfortunately were captured when the enemy came from the flanks. In the Pokrovsk direction, the Russian Defense Ministry announced the capture of Novoekonomichny and Zvirovy. Novoekonomichny is located on the eastern approaches to Myrnorod, and Zvirovy is southwest of Pokrovsk. On the Deep State map, both settlements are in the gray zone. Ukraine has not officially confirmed the complete capture of these villages. At the same time, fighter Muchnoy writes that Novoekonomichny has come under complete enemy control. According to him, the Russians are now pressing from the north and east, have entered the quarry, and are holding it. Our troops are defending the southern landings and positions closer to the industrial zone. The situation is tense. The eastern outskirts of Krasny Liman are the gray zone. Fighting continues in the vicinity. We are also holding the approaches to Rodinsky. From the side of the mine, which is in front of the settlement, the enemy is trying to gain a foothold in the quarry and is conducting reconnaissance in force in the direction of Rodinsky. There are attempts by sabotage groups to enter through the eastern industrial zone. Our soldiers are holding the defense at the entrance to the city. The situation is still under control, but with the risk of a breakthrough, writes Muchnoy. In the eastern outskirts of Myrnorod, the enemy is conducting reconnaissance and preparing flank pressure. There are attempts by small groups to enter through the plantings, but so far without a breakthrough. Our guys are strengthening their positions, mining the approaches. Muchnoy also said that the Russians are consolidating in Zvirovy near Pokrovsk. According to him, the situation in the direction of Zvirovy is difficult. The enemy is gradually consolidating in the village and the activity here is very high, apparently preparing to storm the city. At the Pishchany-Shevchenko line, the enemy is trying to break through the defense along the entire width of the front. They are making assaults, sabotage and reconnaissance groups are entering, but we are holding the line. There are counterattacks on our part. Now we are bringing in reinforcements, plus artillery support and drones are helping. The threat of a breakthrough to Pokrovsk is real, especially from Zvirovy and the southeastern wing, our fighter writes. Also, Muchnoy confirms that Russian sabotage and reconnaissance groups are going deeper into Pokrovsk. I already talked about this in the previous video. Yesterday, this was also confirmed by People's Deputy Bezagla. The Russians have finally entered Pokrovsk, which is a key junction on the Dnipro, Zaporizhzhia, and Kramatorsk, she wrote. Today, the enemy published a video in which they allegedly conduct a cleanup in Pokrovsk. Deep State confirms the information about saboteurs, but writes that this video is not true and is staged. According to him, in recent days, the Ukrainian armed forces have been actively cleaning up in the city. We cannot say that we found and eliminated every saboteur, but most of them have already been destroyed, wrote Deep State. At the same time, our Telegram channel writes that, unfortunately, the attacks on the vehicles of the Ukrainian Defense Forces and the killed guys who became victims of the lies due to which these sabotage groups entered the city are not staged. At the same time, Russian Telegram channels claim that their sabotage and reconnaissance groups are already reaching the center of Pokrovsk, and the defense line in the city continues to blur.
Friends, I want to develop and strive for higher quality content, but my 2009 computer does not allow me to do this. If you have the opportunity to help me buy a new computer and make my dream come true, I will be very grateful to you. You will find the link in the description under the video and in the pinned comment. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.